To be entrepreneurial is to create something from nothing, to always want more, to have this relentless hunger for creation and further progress. So, why does dating not apply to you the same way that it applies to the average person? Entrepreneurs typically share certain undeniable traits: addictiveness, whether it be work or sex or drugs or food, the ability to persist despite resistance, the desire to be known as the best in their field, the ability to inspire, lead, and if you're being really honest, kind of be able to manipulate others into helping you achieve your vision. Now, there's this misalignment of mainstream advice when it comes to dating that doesn't apply for you as an entrepreneurial man. Typical dating advice is aimed towards mass society. People, for who better or for worse, tend to do what the average person does and think the way an average person thinks. People who work jobs that they can clock in and out of and desire someone who lives a similar lifestyle. But you've never fit that mold. And so, of course, the typical general dating advice is not going to apply to you. So what kind of relationship advice should you be looking for, and what dating advice does apply to you? Because the generic advice that you're receiving does not resonate with you, but the advice that is tailored for entrepreneurial men is pretty toxic. It's often written by men just like you who are hyper-focused, super successful, and a little bit afraid of intimacy. And so the advice that they're giving you is from this place of be fearful of women controlling you, be fearful of women wanting something from you, which of course instills that fear in you, which totally makes sense to me as a woman because I work with women who are dating entrepreneurs and I get to hear their perspective. I also get to hear men's perspective. The thing that I want to share with you is that there are women who are not entitled, who also do not want to compete with you, and who are also deeply connected to their femininity. Now, the question is, where do you find these women? And I'm also not saying that all of the advice out there is bad, because it's not. A lot of it is pretty useful when you're, filtering through what applies to you and what doesn't. You're able to do a good job with that. I think the real issue here is that there's a massive gap when it comes to dating and relationship advice for entrepreneurial men. Because how many times have you seen a social media post where it says something along the lines for women that says, if he's not texting you back immediately, if he's not prioritizing you, ditch him, he's not the one for you. I can confidently say that as a woman who's been dating an entrepreneur for the last 5 years, if I were to listen to that advice, I would not be with my fiance. When we first started dating, he told me that work came first and I came second. He would text me in the morning, we wouldn't talk all day, and then we would talk later at night. And that worked for me because I did not have any preconceived notions of how a man should be communicating with me. What I was focusing on was me as a woman feeling good and happy in the relationship. My now fiance, has always done a very good job of prioritizing me despite what he said. He really cared about me. And I truthfully think that it was my deep understanding and love for him exactly who he is, not wanting to change his ambition, actually supporting his ambition and having questions about it and being really curious about it and wanting more of his ambition that made him want me around more because he didn't feel like I was another thing to take care of or another thing to try to defend himself in front of. And so that is what I work on with my Quietly Becoming members. So Quietly Becoming is a women's community that I have where we discuss the realities of dating an entrepreneur as deeply feminine and ambitious women. This has effortlessly translated into matchmaking. So that is what I'm currently doing. As an entrepreneurial woman who is in a relationship with an entrepreneur, I have a very unique perspective of being able to see both sides of the coin. I have seen firsthand the patterns, the miscommunications, and the ways that ambitious men unintentionally sabotage their dating life and or their relationships. And most importantly, I know what women actually want, not just what a male relationship guru is telling you what he thinks women want. Dating as an entrepreneur is tough. You're super busy. You have deadlines and emergencies and people relying on you. So where is the time to go on dates? And at the same time, this is deeply important to you. You have built this immense success for yourself, financial and professional, but there's no one to share it with. And after going to a wedding or going to a birthday party and you go home alone again to an empty house, that just kind of gets a little bit sad after a while. And you deeply desire a woman who supports you, but you also don't want to be in a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship because you understand how weighty a woman can be in your life. And so now the dilemma that happens is, how do you find a woman who is able to support you, encourage you, not make you her entire orbit, but also deeply support you but also be her own woman who's also deeply connected to her femininity, who has her own thing going, but also values motherhood and the role of a wife and honors that. How do you find her? Entre moi, I'm a matchmaker for entrepreneurs. That is my bread and butter. This is what I do. I love relationships. I truly believe that relationships are a way of experiencing and honoring God. Truly. I mean, think about any other experience out in nature where you feel so connected to God and how much you deeply desire that someone was sharing that with you. What I do is I work with men who are incredibly ambitious, who have built this financial and professional success for themselves and deeply desire the kind of woman that I have been describing. If you see my content, you know that I very much do not work with entitled women. I do not work with masculine women, or if they come to me and desire to get in touch with their femininity and realize that their entitlement is not healthy, then we work with them through that. But Quietly Becoming has grown to nearly 150 members. Over the course of the last year and a half, I've probably spoken to over 1,000 men and women, all in the entrepreneurial space regarding relationships. I think that if you're going to be an entrepreneurial man, which is kind of inevitable, you can't really change that about yourself. You love what you do. It is deeply important for you to be matched with a woman who loves that about you rather than wanting to change that about you. A woman who loves the lifestyle that you're able to give her, but also deeply respects and honors the work that has been required to build that kind of lifestyle. She is not wanting you for your money. She's wanting you for the vision that you have and the safety that you're able to create. How beautiful does that sound? If you are interested in working with me, I'm currently taking on 2 more clients. This is a very boutique process where you're working one-on-one with me. If you're not sure about the kind of woman that you want, that is what we help you get clear on. There's an extensive, albeit time-saving process where we help you get very clear on the kind of woman that you're wanting to call in. There's gentle coaching as well, where I'm able to guide you through the process and able to point out any sort of tweaks that I might suggest as your matchmaker and dating relationship coach. And I specialize in matching you with women who fit the caliber of woman that I have been describing. Woman who, truthfully, I would want to be friends with as a woman who has incredibly high standards for herself. I am so continually blown away by the women who are in my network. These are beautiful women who are accomplished and deeply desire a sacred relationship with a man who is equally ambitious as herself, but also deeply connected to her femininity. So if you're interested, click the link down below, and I'm super excited to potentially be working with you.